Welcome to Savor the Story podcast, where books and snacks are life. I'm Nicole.
I'm Vanessa, and this is our last episode of 2024.
Nice. I thought you were going to say ever, and I was like,
No. Surprise to you,
surprise.
too.
It's like, oh, man.
This is when I tell you I quit.
I know, and I literally cannot do this without you because you do all the work.
No, this is our last episode of 2024. So after this episode, you will now have video podcast as well as audio podcast. And yes, that's all.
I think we said this last week too, but the thought of doing video podcast gives another level of anxiety.
Yes. I mean, we already record video, so technically I could go back and we could
oh my gosh,
post all the video from the previous episodes, but that would take a lot of editing on my part and probably not gonna happen.
Hard pass.
Yes.
Like today I thought about it because I worked late, and so I was like, I have to get on this call, and so I did not do anything with my hair. It's still up in like the half bun that I put it in when I washed my face this morning, and then like my t-shirt is like, you can't see it, it's all sweaty just from anxiety.
All of those things are still okay for when we go to the video, because who fucking cares, man?
Me a little.
Okay. Okay, well, you care. I will not. There will still be plenty of episode where my hair is in a messy bun or in a whatever. Like, it does not matter.
Yeah.
Live your life, Nicole.
I will.
Okay, great.
I will try to channel you in future episodes.
All right. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Because we want them to care about the books.
Right.
Yes. So I had a weird this is not really about anything, but I just wanted to share with you about what it's like getting old. I feel like I had a conversation with one of my friends last week, and every time we see each other, we're like, we have to be better at talking to each other, like throughout time. And so we are now at a point where we're scheduling days that we have, like every Wednesday we have to text each other at least one time. Like, this is what it's like to get old and have friends.
Yes. Yeah. We get busy, and then like you realize I have not talked to this person in 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just funny to me, like that is like what we have to do now, is like schedule it.
Yeah, it really, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, luckily I have a standing appointment with you on Mondays to record. So if nothing else, I'm going to talk to you on Mondays when you leave me.
Right. Well, and then everything will be a surprise to you. All the stuff we don't talk about.
Yes.
But yeah, to your point, it really makes me appreciate the type of friends that I have where we forget about each other, and then one of us will randomly text the other one and be like, hey, I saw this blank and it made me think of you. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then you have a phone call or whatever.
Yeah.
And both of you are okay with downloading the last year or 6 months or whatever. And then you're like, okay, I'll talk to you next week. And then 6 months later, you're like, oh my gosh.
Right. You suddenly found something else that reminded you of them. Yeah. It's like, I don't understand. I mean, I understand life gets in the way, and I can barely remember the things that I have to do on a regular basis without having to write them down. So remembering that I should probably reach out and see how somebody is doing it's why I have to schedule it now.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I just wanted to share that with you. Yeah. Anyway, how are you doing today?
Good. I know before we started recording, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. This is probably the most behind I've ever been for our podcast prep.
Can
So
I tell you, though, that this is all your own? You did this to yourself.
I know.
Because
I know this is all in my head.
nothing that you didn't do beforehand is actually required. You read the book. That is what is required.
Yeah.
You writing down all of the notes is your own anxieties with your own self.
Maybe. But
No.
also, I feel like since I've started writing things down, my reviews are more coherent.
Okay.
Because some of them, I've gone back and listened to like some of, even just, we only have 20, but I've gone
Yeah.
back and listened to some of like 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever. And I was like, man, what am I talking about? Like, I would never read this book if somebody gave me a review like that.
This review. I mean, that's fair, but I feel like now you're more used to it. You're a little more whatever. So even if you don't have everything written down, either way, I'm sticking with this is your own. You're doing it to yourself. You gotta let that shit go, Nicole.
I have to bring something.
You do.
Coherent reviews is what I bring.
You just bring all of the books. That's what you bring.
Next year, I'm going to bring all the books.
You're just trying to make me feel bad about myself.
No, I'm giving you outs is what I'm doing.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm being a team player.
All right. The episode where I don't have to review any because you've reviewed 5 is going to be great. Are you going to have a 5-book week?
I don't know. I've had a 4-book week.
Yeah.
I don't see why I couldn't have a 5-book week.
Yeah.
I would just have to plan my books so they're all short books.
Yeah.
I just read 1 book a day.
Right. Well, I will wait for the day for you to completely, fully outshine me. If it hasn't been done already.
We'll see.
Yeah. Do you have anything else? I don't have anything else to tell you about other than my snack, which I don't really have one this week.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I spent a majority of my week with you. Mm-hmm. So you know all my things.
Is it because I forced you to be around me?
No, it's because I asked you to be around me, at least sometimes.
Yes, I feel like that is what our coming week is going to be as well. Where you're going to have a lot of me this week.
That's fine.
Okay,
Tomorrow we're going to hang out at work and after work.
Yes.
Thursday we're going to hang out at work and after work.
Yes.
I'm sure we can hang out next week or this weekend. Like,
and Sunday where we're going to record for like 3.5 hours. So.
Oh yeah. And on Sunday we have to record forever. Oh my gosh.
So you got a lot of me this week and I'm not sorry.
That's fair.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. Do you have a snack? Did you eat good snacks this week?
No. I ate out a lot this week.
Oh, you did?
Is not helping my don't gain more than 7 pounds during the holiday season goal.
I'm very concerned with that as well. I don't even actually know what I was on November 1st, so I'm going to have to look it up. But I'm getting concerned. We're going to have to do it on our, I don't even know what episode that's going to be. Episode 21, we will be able to tell, or 22, I think, we'll be able to tell what our end of year weight.
For end of year weigh-in weight, well.
Yes. So episode 22, listen for that and see how we did.
It'll just be like, well, I can go back and say exactly where I messed this up. And it's this week because Ethan was home, Mike was at the cabin. I was like, I don't want to cook. There's no food in the house. I'll just order food. So I did a lot of that.
All right.
So
anything stand out?
We did have cheesecake yesterday.
We did.
And then
That's it.
well, you made cake on Friday, which I feel like
I did.
should be almost your, because you say you don't cook ever or
I
bake.
don't.
You don't like to bake, so I feel like that almost has to be your
But
measuring
I
system.
already used Jello cake last week.
Oh,
Because
did
it was
you?
my mom's.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
my
that's right.
mom's Jello cake. So I can't. I'm
Dang
not going to
it.
use it this week. So I got to figure something else out.
Yeah. I did. We went grocery shopping yesterday, and I did. What is it called when you just see it and you're like, I'm gonna buy it.
Yes.
So
Oh,
whatever
impulse.
that. Yes, impulse buy. I did impulse buy apple crumb coffee cake,
Ooh.
like the little singles of it. It was for it being individually packed bullshit food that you shouldn't be eating. It
Yes.
was very moist and it was very good. It was delicious. There's no apple in the cake that I could tell, but it was definitely an apple flavor, so I don't really know what was going on there.
Okay.
But it was pretty good.
All right, great.
So I could not pronounce the name
Okay.
of it, but I will measure in apple crumb cakes this week.
Ooh, I got one. I have one.
Okay.
Because Tim, he likes to tell me how good of a husband he is. Because he did the grocery shopping this Sunday, because I wasn't able to go. And he bought me, and last Sunday he went grocery shopping. Anyway, he bought me the white chocolate Reese's Christmas tree.
Oh, the Christmas trees, nice.
Yeah, because that's what's out right now. So he did buy me some of those, and he, as soon as I walked in, he was like, I bought you Christmas trees.
Be very happy.
To be fair, he did have to buy more this Sunday because, do you want to know how many I ate out of the last bag? One.
All of them. Oh.
I ate one. Tim ate the rest of them. So
I am not surprised by this.
Not even a little bit. So he kind of had to buy another bag of them so that I could actually have some.
That's funny.
But I did have one of them at least. So I will rate them in, do you say Reese's or Reese's?
Reese's?
I say Reese's too, but for some reason when I just said it, I said Reese's. So we're going to go with it. I'm going to rate in white chocolate Christmas tree Reese's. Yes.
Solid.
Thank you. At least it's not ice cubes. I have been trying to do a little bit better, but it kind of got messed up when I was in California. So I'm back to trying to be on track this week.
Yeah. I have no excuse. I'm just
Your
a bad person.
Is Ethan is here and he forced you to be bad.
Right. Yes, it's everybody else's fault. I
accept
have no
that.
self-control.
That's right. Yes. That's all I have.
Me too.
It's book time. And I want you to go first.
But I have so many.
It's okay. I want you to go.
Okay.
Okay.
This is suspicious.
There's no secret motive, I promise. I just want you to go first.
Okay, because I was going to say the same thing. I was like, you should go first.
No.
Dang it.
I got there first.
Yes, you did. And I accept. Okay, so I read 3 books this week.
Okay.
The first one I read is called Writer, Sailor, Soldier, Spy.
Okay.
I said that really slow because it was like a tongue twister to me earlier when I was trying to say it.
Try to say it fast.
Writer, Sailor, Soldier, Spy.
Oh, you did it.
I was practicing earlier because it's a lot. So This is the second part of the title of the book is Ernest Hemingway's Secret Adventures from 1935 to 1961. So they couldn't fit in the top title portion of my notes, so I wrote it in the bottom.
Okay.
This is a book by the author Nicholas Reynolds. I listened to it as an audiobook, and it's history. Now, like the title implies, it is set between 1935 and 1961. But the author, Nicholas Reynolds, his backstory was the curator of the CIA museum. And while he was there curating,
Sure.
yep, he came across, if you want to say, clues to the story of Ernest Hemingway's involvement during World War II and involvement with possible KGB and CIA and stuff, like a whole bunch of different stuff. So it's that history.
Okay.
So this book begins with his time as a journalist during the Spanish Civil War. And so during that time, he made a lot of friends. Was
Ernest Hemingway?
Yes.
Okay.
Deeply involved in the Spanish Civil War, stuff like that. So that's the very beginning of the book, and it's kind of trying to just frame the story that this is how it all started, if you want to say.
Okay.
So maybe other people know this. I've never read a book or watched anything about Ernest Hemingway, so I didn't really have like a good backstory on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Minus I've heard people say that he was like a crazy guy. So
okay.
A very wild life. But he has pretty strong anti-fascist beliefs. And because of that, because of his journalism background, because of his contacts everywhere, because of, like I was saying, the Spanish Civil War era, unsurprisingly, maybe, he was recruited by the NKVD, which is the predecessor to the KGB.
Okay.
And the American SOSS, which is the predecessor to the CIA. So he was recruited by both of those entities during this time frame. And so, like I said earlier, this is telling that portion of his life, which is pretty crazy. It's stuff like he made his own personal like boat into like a U-boat hunting ship, and he was like patrolling around Cuba. He started a spy ring in Cuba. He was helping U.S. forces he was with U.S. forces when they liberated Paris during World War II. So this guy was pretty much everywhere during that time frame. And then there's also a little bit post-World War II, the Cold War era, and just like the final years of his life, some stuff that he was going through during that time.
Okay.
So that being said, if you're going to get into this book, I guess some triggers to maybe think about before picking it up is there is talk about depression. Ernest Hemingway did have depression, so they speak about that quite a bit. They also speak about suicide, and obviously there's a lot of war in this book, so there's a lot of storytelling about death of friends and family and stuff like that. So the book, my thoughts on the book is I thought the book was written well. The narrator was great. The narrator was awesome. It was pretty good. So, but I think the book was written more factually than as like a story or any, because like I said, he did a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And if you told it as a story, I think maybe more people would have enjoyed it. But this was told more factually.
Like, this happened and then this happened.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and to me that makes sense, and I expected it because in the description of the book they talk about the guy who wrote it was the CIA. Like I said, he worked in the CIA museum, so I was expecting it to be on, I guess, like the dry side, and it I'd say it probably was. The main takeaway that I had from this book, like I said, I've never read anything about Ernest Hemingway before. I didn't really know anything about him. I don't even really know his books. But I really came away from this book, and I don't know if it was the author's intent, but I came away just not liking Hemingway as a person.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So, like, I acknowledge that he did a whole bunch of crazy things that are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I also took away that I just don't like him as a person. I mean, some examples were like multiple ways that they showed that he is just like he was he was just a dick to women, just like a terrible person.
Fun.
And he was also, there's a couple examples of how he was, if you want to, I don't know, say maybe he was like a bully or a mean guy, but he was the type where he would, if he was mad, he would, I guess if you want to say, throw his weight around and scream at you and try and intimidate you to get you to change your mind or take back what you said or something like that. Just basically get what he wants. Right. So that was a couple examples. The rest of it is just, just stuff like that. But those were the major ones that I remember right here. So I want to rate this book badly.
Okay.
Because I've decided I don't like Hemingway.
Just based on him alone.
Right. But I don't feel like that's fair
to the author,
to Mr. Nicholas Reynolds.
Yes.
So because I don't know Nicholas Reynolds and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to say 3-ish.
Okay. All right.
Open to more or less depending on if I ever meet Nicholas Reynolds.
Okay, great.
So, okay, next book.
Yes.
What Comes of Attending the Commoners' Ball?
Okay.
Another long one.
Yes.
So this one is by Elizabeth Aimee Brown. It was a Kindle book, and it's Kindle Unlimited.
Okay.
And it's a fantasy. And because it was a Kindle Unlimited and because it was rated so highly is the reason that I picked this book up.
Okay.
All right. So there's a girl.
This does not sound great.
I know. I should have started with poor Hester. So there's a girl. Her name is Hester. And she grew up in the country and she travels to the city to get a job so she can work and make enough money to bring her parents to the city because they're both starting to get old and in ill health. So she's trying to make money in the city so she can have a better life for her and her parents.
All right.
So that's very nice. But the struggle is real. And, she, one day, she doesn't have a lot to eat. She kind of, doesn't live in, I don't want to say not the best place, but, she doesn't live very well-to-do or anything like that. So one day she gets in her head she's going to attend what is called the Commoners' Ball, thinking that it's for commoners. Maybe.
Easy guess to make there.
Right. But
or assumption, I should say.
Yeah. So, but she quickly finds out that it is not. But before she can be physically removed from the premises, she is saved by a handsome prince.
Of course.
And he whisks her away for a night of dancing and snacks because that's why she really went. She just wants cheese.
Okay, yeah, let's nix the dancing and just give me all the snacks.
So yeah, that was kind of a cute part. He's like trying to dance with her and do all these things, and she's like, I really just want to go eat food. And he's like, later, after we dance. And she's like, that's not really what I want.
That's not why I came here.
Right. So, while all this is happening, the prince's brother, the stick in the mud, is like, you can't do this. This isn't okay. And he's like, tries to step in to separate them.
Okay. At this point, do they already know that she is a commoner?
Oh, yeah.
Unquote? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, the brother who's picked her up and carried her away, he knows.
Okay.
He has a reason for doing it.
Okay.
And then the other brother, the older brother, who's the stick.
The terrible one.
Well, yeah, the boring one.
Okay.
He's noted as the boring one. She tells him.
Okay.
So she's like, I don't belong here. Yeah. Just give me food and let me leave. So after the ball, the next few weeks in the book are just a series of events where one brother is making trouble for her. And then the other is cleaning up his mess. Okay. And while all this is happening, one of them falls in love with Hester. So, there, and of
I
course,
see where this is going.
and of course, there's a twist at the end that could possibly spoil true love.
Oh no.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So, my thoughts on the book are,
I kind of feeling we were going there.
yes. Like I said earlier, I read this book because it was free, and on Goodreads, it had like 4.5 stars. Like 58% of people who read it were like 5 stars. And I was like, how?
Oh no.
Is this just another like cozy read? I guess if you want to call it a cozy read, that I think got hyped up more than the 5 stars are necessary.
All right. That's fair.
But I thought the story was a little boring. The characters were okay. They're not great.
Okay.
They're completely average, middle of the road. The most interesting one was Hester, and that was probably because she was just like, I need to find more cheese. Like,
you could identify with her wanting snacks and cheese.
Right. Well, she also had other, like, because she was the only person different than everybody else, it made her the most interesting person, because they'd be like, oh, look at all these parties and dresses. And she's like, let me tell you about my willy pigs. And I was like, okay, tell me, Hester, tell me about these pigs. So, but yeah, I mentioned the twist at the end. This is probably one of the things that saves the book a little bit, is because the twist at the end, I honestly was not expecting. Because I wasn't looking for it. I was expecting 100% just like cozy read.
Yeah.
No problems that need to be overcame, anything like that. And then it was like twist. And I was like, oh, okay. But I wasn't like, mind blown. Okay. It was just like, oh my gosh, a twist. Thank you for redeeming yourself.
Okay.
So do you remember in week 18 when I read all those cozy books by mistake?
Yeah.
All of them were rated like 3.
Yeah.
I rate this one a 3-ish as well, just because it's another cozy read.
Right.
And I'm getting tired of cozy reads.
You have been reading a lot of them.
I don't know. They just have been integrating themselves into my Kindle, and I'm like, stop giving me these. I'm tired.
I feel like you now have to stop reading the ones that are being recommended to you, because now that you keep reading them, it's just going to keep giving them to you. So you need to go off of that and find, you got to dig deep somewhere else.
So I tried that.
Oh, no.
So here is my third book.
Okay.
It is called Rebel Skies.
Okay.
By Ann Sei Lin.
All right.
It is a physical book, and it is a fantasy. Do you know when I bought this book?
Yesterday?
Yes. We were out at lunch yesterday, and we stopped at the bookstore.
It sounds kind of familiar. You read it since yesterday.
Yes. I finished it last night.
Nicole, do you read at like 7 times speed?
So, in all fairness, this book is 300 and something pages. Like
again, 7 times speed.
But I finished it in like 4 hours. So that's only 90 pages an hour, which is only really like 40 single pages because you got back and fronts. And the whole page isn't filled up.
Okay.
There's pretty big margins at the top and bottom. So I don't even consider this book to be a true 360 pages or whatever.
I like all of the spinning you're doing here, but I still feel like you read like a robot.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Tell me about Rebel Skies.
So this is the one that I didn't have my review completely finished, and this is what caused my mental breakdown at the beginning of the episode, where I was like, I have to have everything so I can give coherent thoughts. This may not be a coherent thought.
Okay. Can't wait.
Yes. So this book called Rebel Skies, the main character, her name is, and I'm going to butcher all these names, so I apologize. Her name is Kurara.
All right.
And I'm going to call her Rara. And the only reason I'm going to do that is because there's another character who calls her Rara. Okay. So it's not like I'm just cutting her name down because
Yeah.
I can't pronounce it. It is a happy coincidence.
All right.
So, main character Rara is a servant on a flying ship, which they called it a flying ship. I would consider it to be like a flying island almost, because
No.
it's not like the ship ever lands. It just stays up in the sky forever. So, a flying island, but they called it a ship.
Okay.
So she works as a servant there. And something special about her is she has the ability to fold paper into objects, but without using her hands. She can just like think about it, and the paper makes whatever she tells it to.
Okay.
And she can also animate it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So she could fold it with her mind paper into like a rabbit, and make the rabbit like hop across the room and do things.
How is this helpful? Does it end up being helpful?
It ends up being helpful.
Okay, all right.
So,
you don't have to tell me how. Just
so Rara keeps this ability under wraps, because it's kind of, I don't know, it's one of those things where everybody's like, you have to keep it a secret. One, because it's like you shouldn't be doing it in public, but secondly, there is a possible evil princess who, if she knows you have this ability, she might take you and use you to help her commit evil plots. Right?
Fuck that princess.
Right. So she doesn't tell anybody about this. She keeps it under wraps. So Rara's living on this ship, living her best life, and one day her ship is attacked by a giant paper creature, a giant dragon. And these creatures are different than the stuff that she can do. Like she can, like I said, she can fold the paper and make them do things, but she controls them the whole time. If they are like, they have a will of their own, so to speak, and they can exist without somebody continuously manipulating them, then they're called a shikigami.
Okay.
And they are basically, the only way you can kill them is with fire.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
So they basically obtain or get consciousness somehow.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's not something that she can do.
Okay.
That, at least it is never said that she can do it in this book.
Okay.
But while the ship is being attacked, a guy shows up and he's like, hey, come with me. I'll, keep you safe. Blah, blah, blah. I am the same as you. We are both creators. That is what they call people who can do the paper magic.
The paper. Okay.
It's called creators. This man is named Himura.
Okay.
So basically, the rest of the book is her learning how to control her powers. And the reason she wants to control her powers is because she actually does want to meet this possibly evil princess, because she needs a favor from her.
All right.
Right. So it's nothing crazy. You know what the favor is. I'm just not telling you because it gives away a huge part of the book.
All right.
So she does need a favor from the possibly evil princess. And so that's what the book is. Her trying to get to the princess.
All right.
So she can get a favor. So my thoughts on this book, I didn't really like Rara.
Oh, okay.
I think I don't think they ever say her age, but they mention Himura, that he is in his early 20s, and she's like, oh, he's a couple years older than me, or what I assume to be a couple years older than me.
Okay.
So my assumption is she is like a young adult, but she does not act like a young adult. Okay. The way she talks is very like childish. Every once in a while she has like a aha moment where she's clever, but most of the time she's treated like a child and she
Okay.
acts like a child, so it's very weird. I thought the story was very rushed. Like I said, that it goes from the ship being attacked to her meeting the princess in like less than 100 pages or 150 pages. And to get there is kind of a big deal, so it's just everything is very convenient.
It all just works out.
Yeah, it all kind of just works out. I really enjoyed the magic, though.
Okay.
I like everything they talked about with the paper folding and all that other, all that magic was very cute, and I liked it. The idea of like how she feels about the Shikigami was very like I liked that part. It was very, I don't know, lovable, I guess.
Okay.
There is if you want to call it a paper familiar, one of the
that's cute.
One of the creators has, and he's an adorable little fox.
Oh. Does he have his own thoughts and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So I really liked the book. I liked the book. Obviously, I finished it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I think I finished it more because it was an easy read.
Okay.
And when I was sitting there and I looked at how many pages I had left, because I looked at the book and I was like, man, I'm almost done with this. I chose to stay up an extra hour and just finish the book. I could have easily put it down and gone to sleep. Okay. But I just was like, yeah, I'm almost done. I'm going to see if I can finish this. And I did. So, easy read. It was an enjoyable read. I did look up this on Goodreads, and there is a second book already out.
Okay.
And I think there's supposed to be a third book coming out shortly, I think. But the second book is rated better than the first. Oh. So if you look on Goodreads, this one's rated 3.8. The next one is rated like 4.2. And then I think the third one, which might be getting ARC reviews, I haven't looked. I think that one's rated at like 4.5.
Okay.
So I might give the second one a try.
All right.
If I ever come across it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll get it on my Kindle or anything like that. So.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just another, I don't want to call it a cute read because but it was an easy read. Okay. And it's kind of just not a lot going on throughout the whole book. It was almost like a setup book for maybe the second. So I guess I rate that one also 3-ish.
Okay. Was it more of a like a YA type fantasy?
There is no romance in this. Okay. It is just straight up
like
fantasy.
Language and stuff like that is not. Nope. Okay. All right. So excellent.
Yeah.
Are you ready for mine?
Yes.
Okay. So I read the book talk sensation, When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I will say it did not live up to the TikTok book talk hype for me.
Okay.
So let me tell you what it's about. Oh wait, hold on. First, let me tell you, this book is very long. It is 576 pages.
Oh wow.
It is on Kindle Unlimited, so that's how I read it. It's more of like I guess you could call it romantasy, but I would say it's a little bit more high fantasy.
Okay.
Like big world, lots of magic, like stuff like that. With some romantasy in it. It's book 1 of the Moonfall series, and right now, from what I could see online, it looks like the second book is coming out in October of 2025. I only saw that in one place though, so I don't know how legitimate that date is, but October 2025 is what it sounds like it's gonna be. And the second book is called The Ballad of Falling Dragons. Okay, so it follows Rave, and I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name, because in the book it's spelled Raeve,
Okay.
but the pronunciation that it has at the end of the book is Ray-VV. So
Hmm.
rave.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So it follows Rave, and Con is the
Mm.
male. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a true dual point of view. It's mostly Rave's point of view, with some chapters sprinkled in of Con, of a couple of the other characters, and some diary entries.
Okay.
So Rave is a member of a rebellion group. They are called, I do not know how to say this, Fur Duoth. I think is
Oh,
how it's said. I honestly could not tell you if that's correct.
is that's how you were saying it in your head though?
Yes, Fur Duoth.
Or did you shorten it to be like just like the fur people?
Yeah, I just kind of like skipped over it.
All right, there you go.
So her job is basically just to kill. She takes orders and completes jobs. It's basically like a bounty hunter kind of, but
Okay.
for the
Or
rebellion.
like an assassin or something.
Yes.
Okay.
So a bounty hunter is hired by the crown to capture a member of the Oth, and basically shit gets crazy for Rave because they are going after her.
Dang.
They need someone, but they're going after her. So Con Vager is his name. He is the leader of one of the kingdoms, and he's on his own quest to hunt for moon shards, and to ignore his heartache.
Oh, how sad.
Yes. So the moon shards that he is hunting for is basically, so in this world, when the dragons die, they fly up into the sky and they curl into a ball and they solidify. And they basically become like the moons for this world.
Oh, okay.
So all of the moons that they see are dragons that have died. So,
Okay.
and that's when they can choose to die, or if like they know that they're dying, they can shoot up into the sky and curl into a little ball. But then there's also the tragic ones that are like killed on Earth and they never become moons. But every once in a while, a moon will fall. It's not common, like once a century, if that. And when the moon falls, the dragon will basically like shatter into pieces, and those moon shards are now like worth something. And so this king Khan is hunting for this one specific moon that has fallen. So
is it gonna help him with his heart problem?
yes.
Oh.
It will help him with his heartache.
Okay. I like heart problem better.
Yes, I love this. So in this world of whatever, there are people with magic, and they're called beaded elementals. Okay. So there's 5 colors of beads, and each person who is a beaded elemental has to wear the color of the bead that is associated with the magic that they have. So most of the time people are like single beaded. If you have anybody who's double or triple beaded, then they are typically going to be part of like the royal court somehow, or like something like that. The people who have the magic, they can essentially, so the creators that created this magic, you can essentially like speak to the creator. So like, for example, one of the creators controls air. So like you would talk to the creator, and the creator would then control the air in the way that you want them to control it. It's very crazy.
Oh, so you're like, you're not controlling the air yourself. You're having a conversation with someone and they're doing
Basically,
it.
yes.
So
So you have to figure out how to talk to the creator to get them to manipulate it. And then in this world, iron can stop you from being able to use magic. So a lot of times, like specifically for Rave, it gets loud in her head because she can hear a couple of different creators, and so it gets really loud, so she wears an iron ring so that it quiets everything, and then when she wants to do her magic, she takes off the iron ring and she'll control the air creator or whatever.
can I ask a question?
Yes.
Can multiple people have the same magic?
Yeah, because the creators are not there. They're like gone. They're dead.
Okay, so what if you have multiple people talking to the same creator?
I have no idea.
Does he or she follow all of their requests?
I think so.
And so it's just like air fighting air, but it's the same guy like fighting himself, the same creator fighting the same. So weird.
I don't think there was ever a situation in the book, conveniently, where somebody was fighting somebody with the same bead, or the same element. But yeah, I assume that because there's multiples of like every type. So my assumption is just that maybe it's that you're not talking directly to the creator. You're just like, that's how you have to manipulate the magic. I don't know.
It's one of his minions.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know. It's one of those things where I was like, man, does that mean like first come, first serve? Like, aha, use my air power first. And then like the other guy is like, but I have, like, do they both talk to they both talk to the creator, and the creator's like, I don't want to do that, but I'll do that. That sounds rad.
Add this to the list of things that I don't know what the fuck is going on in this book.
Fair.
Okay, so like I said, some people have more access to more than one of them, blah blah blah. So in this world there are 3 kings.
Okay.
Because there's 3 kingdoms, and all ran by brothers. So Khan is the oldest, and then his 2 younger brothers run the other 2 kingdoms. Okay, so throughout the story, blah blah blah, Rave and Khan, of course, cross paths, and we see their story play out. Rave has some missing memories that kind of slowly return as we get some reveals and some twisties and stuff like that. Pieces of her story get revealed pretty much through like the latter half of the book, I would say, when you finally figure out some things that she's missing. So she's kind of an unreliable narrator in the way that she doesn't fully know who she is and what her full abilities are and stuff like that. Okay, that's kind of all I can give you without giving too many spoilies.
Does Khan have magic? Beads?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he's I think he's double beaded, if I remember correctly. Ooh, you can also, in this world, you can what's the word? Bond with your dragon. And when you bond with your dragon, you can use their magic too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about the dragons for a minute because I was so stuck on this magic.
I know. Okay, so a few things that I enjoyed. One, the magic was actually kind of cool. Like in use, like in practice, it's actually kind of cool. So one thing, I'll tell you one of her. So she can control air. She literally just sucks the air out of somebody's lungs and they suffocate. Like it's literally just like super easy.
Dead.
Yep, you're done. So yeah, the way the magic system is pretty cool. I also wrote, if not a little confusing. So the story as a whole, okay, so I'm gonna say I liked the story, but maybe didn't love the book. is
Okay.
how I will say it. So I like the idea of the story. I liked all of that, the way it was written. But let me give you my likes first. Sorry. I
Okay.
was jumping ahead. I also enjoyed the characters. All of them are pretty likable. Even the side characters that we get are all either you love them or you hate them, but they've got something to them. They're not
Mhm.
just like nothings. And the other thing that I liked is the dragons. They're adorable.
Oh,
I
that's a
love them.
given.
Uh-huh. I also specifically liked chapter 45. I
That is
wrote
very that is
I
very
wrote it
specific.
down. It's from Khan's point of view, and you learn a lot about the story in that chapter.
Okay.
Like you get a lot of the stuff that Rave doesn't remember or know or whatever. And so I feel like it's a good chapter 45. There you go.
Best chapter.
Best chapter. Okay, the things I did not like. As I said, I like the story but not the book. The writing is not great. So one thing, Rave tries way too hard to be snarky.
Hmm.
Like at like a few times it was very clear that like the reaction she was going for was like, "Oh shit, you got him." And my reaction was like, "Please shut the fuck up." Like this is so stupid. Like I'll give you an example. At one point she's about to get executed and she literally tells the man who's about to kill her that he has a micro penis, and I was like, great, you're so hilarious. Way to be snarky. The writing is very confusing. It's very overdone. Sometimes like things that can be explained in like 2 sentences, it takes the whole page.
Mm.
Like talking about how it's raining, and it's like, you took a whole page to tell me that it's fucking raining? Like what are you doing?
Right.
It also sounds like a thesaurus was used quite a bit.
Oh, I hate that.
Uh-huh. I will tell you, the first 10 pages took me like an hour to read because I had to reread like 7 of the first 10 pages like 4 times because I was like, what the fuck is she saying? What is happening? What is going on? I had no idea. You literally just like jump right in, and like you don't know what anything is. And so it was to the point I literally Googled, am I too stupid to read this book? And Reddit told me no, because
Nice.
do you know how many other people on Reddit that I found that wrote that same question?
Wow.
So it was not just me. But so if anybody is planning to read this book, I will say get through the first part. I'm going to give you the same advice that Reddit gave me, which was keep pushing through. So
Right.
at the end of the book, there's literally like 15 pages of like glossary of information of like explaining what everything is and like all that kind of stuff. So you have the option of, while you're reading, to go back and read those things like to figure it out. But I would say just try to like move through. Eventually the things will click for you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really what I had to finally just do, because I was like, I feel like I'm way too stupid for this book. Okay, and then 2 more things that I did not like. Sorry.
Okay.
The world is full of made up words or changed words for things that already exist.
Mm.
So like, instead of saying year, they call it a phase. Instead of saying night, they call it a slumber. Instead of saying a day, they call it an aurora cycle. And when they do write the word day, it's spelt DAE. So
Okay.
There were so many times where it would say Aurora cycle, and I couldn't for the life of me remember that was one 24-hour day. And I had to like go in the back and look and see what it was. I was like, don't fucking change words. Instead of saying, like, don't say, if you don't want to say night, I don't know, just say night.
Yeah. That seems silly.
Yeah. So
like
there
purposely confusing almost.
Yes. So there were so many words that I had to like remember and know, and you have to remember them to understand the context of the story. Also, there's a lot of different types of beasts and dragons that at different points are very important for you to understand what type they are, because they can only exist in certain types of like elements basically, or environments. And so I couldn't remember which one was being talked about at any given time. I had to go to the back and be like, which type of dragon are we looking at? Oh my god. Okay.
So there's just like a lot of backstory.
Yeah.
That you had to remember.
Yeah. And I do feel like some of it could be me, because it, like I said, it is more high fantasy, and all of these things I feel like are more typical of a high fantasy. And so some of it could be me and my inability to remember things. But I do think some of it was very unnecessary.
Gotcha.
Just over the top. So that's all my things that I did not like. Before I give you my rating, I'm going to tell you, at one point she refers to someone as having russet brows. And I immediately thought of you and potatoes.
Good. So now he just has giant potato eyebrows.
Yes, exactly. That's all I could see. After that, I was like, well, great. He's got potatoes. So there's that. And then I will say it is a very open door spicy book. So there's that. Which is why I said it does have the romantasy element, even though it is technically like a high fantasy. So I rated it 3 white chocolate ghosties.
I thought trees.
Oh, trees. White chocolate Christmas trees. So I went with 3 because it felt very like middle. I did enjoy a lot of it. I will most likely read the second one now that like I'm in it, and I know that I'm not too stupid for it. Like I did enjoy it. It was just overwritten. That's all.
That's fair.
Yeah. So 3, but I still feel like it's a little bit of a letdown from what Book Talk told me it was. So
that's fair.
Yeah. All right. I feel like that was really long and like a lot. So
that book sounds like it was a lot. So I think that's necessary.
Okay, good. Thank you for your support. Okay, are you ready for our question?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a book that you wish you could read again for the first time?
Get out my phone. I just peruse through my read list. We'll just go through it.
Of for all time?
Yeah. Well, we'll just do this year.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, just this year.
I guess all time. Yeah, do all time.
Okay, because I don't know if I have... Well, I don't know if I have one for just this year.
Huh.
Maybe Heartless Hunter, if I was looking at just this year.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Yeah.
I'd like to reread that for the first time.
I think for all time, I have to jump to my Shadowhunter books.
Oh, yep. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, for sure, I would say both series, like the main series and the prequel trilogy. But if I had to just pick one of them, it would be the prequel trilogy. I wish I could reread those for the first time again and fall in love with Will Herondale all over again.
That's funny. I wish I could go back and read One Dark Window again, because
Mhm.
that one is definitely one that I like speed read
Mhm.
through a lot of it because I was like, I have to know what
Yeah.
happens. And I feel like that happens a lot with me in books. Is
Mhm.
once it gets exciting, I'm like, just tell me what happens.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
like I know I said that for The Last Blood Carver. I think I
Oh,
said that,
mhm.
where I was just like, tell me everything. Stop telling me your plight. I want to know
Yes.
what happens in the story.
Yes.
So,
If I
mhm.
was to do like in recent memory, I would say probably Fourth Wing was like that for me, where I just read it super fast, which is the reason why I feel like I'm going to reread it for the Onyx
There you
Storm
go.
release, because there's a lot of things I just wanted to get through it as fast as possible. Um, so like if I was thinking of it in those terms, I think I would add Fourth Wing to the list of books I want to reread for the first time again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say probably. I mean, the easy answer is maybe any book that I've ever 5-starred.
But true.
Like
Yeah.
just to experience it again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are some books out there that I've rated pretty high, and I cannot remember for the life of me why I rated it that high or
Okay.
what happens in that book.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll try reading those again
Okay.
just so I can see if it all comes back to me and I'm like, yes. Or if
Yes.
I'm like, this is the best book ever again.
It's basically like reading it for the first time.
Right. Yes.
You said you're going to do that for potentially 5-star books that you've read,
Um,
or just high rated.
I don't know. I haven't put any like. It's just a off the cuff remark I made
Okay.
right now for this podcast. I have no plans to
I'm
do
holding
so.
you to it. I'm going to write it on your goals list for 2025.
Dang it. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, that's fair.
Okay.
I could probably find a couple books that
I
I
love
don't
how
remember.
quickly you just accept my my pushes.
You're like, you're gonna do this. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I could probably do that. Why not?
Thank you for being so pliable.
No problem. This is what happens when people are like our one listener who was like, read this book now or else. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it right now.
Yes. One little threat and you're like, I got it.
It's okay. All right, I'll do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I do like the idea of just basically saying any 5-star book I've ever read, I probably would like to read again for the first time. But if I just have to pick one, I'm going with the Shadowhunters trilogy. What is that called? Oh, The Infernal Devices. That trilogy.
That one.
Yes. That would be it for sure. Now I'm sad that I can't do that.
Aw.
Oh no.
That makes me sad that you're sad.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing in my sadness.
No problem.
Do you have more specific, like any more that you?
I would say maybe, River Enchanted.
Okay.
Yes, River Enchanted, and I can't remember the second book.
That was a this year book, wasn't it?
It was a this year book,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that was like I didn't rate it a 5,
Mm-hmm.
but I did rate it pretty high. That's one of the books that I would probably consider going back and changing closer to a 5 or
Okay.
a 5. I was surprised by how much I ended up liking it because it was just like a free Kindle Unlimited book. And I was like, whatever, I'll just read it to read it. And then it turned out pretty good. And I was like, oh, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
But I probably feel like I didn't invest a lot, or maybe I skimmed some stuff because I was just kind of like, like, who knows if I'm going to like this book,
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
don't know if you've ever done that before.
Yes.
You're just like, I'll read it because somebody suggested it, and then you're like not really into it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, damn.
Oh, shit, I should have been reading for the last 100 pages.
What happened? Why is this a thing now?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me, I saw something on Instagram the other day, and it was like it was a reel, I think, and somebody was like, are you telling me that people out there don't read every single word. And I was like, you do?
Like, who does that?
Yeah, and she was like, no wonder these people are reading so many books and I'm over here with like 12. It's like, yes, you got to skim that shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes some of that extra, especially for me, I feel like anytime we get into super detailed world building or like telling me what it looks like, I'm like, this is nothing to me. So
Yeah.
I just skim.
Yeah. And I know I've said this on other episodes, but there are some books where I dislike the main character, so much that anytime she speaks.
Nicole, you cannot skip Bella's dialogue. She is the whole book.
She's so annoying, though.
You've only got one book left.
I know.
You only have one left.
But we split it into 2 months.
I know.
Just to prolong my agony.
Yes, we did this for you. I think that's everything now. I don't think we have.
That was a pretty easy, quick
question.
Discussion. Mm-hmm.
So go tell us what your book is that you would like to read for the first time, because if we haven't read it, maybe we want to read it.
Yeah. And we all know I'll cave to peer pressure.
Yes, so. Exactly. If you just even mildly suggest that Nicole should read it, she'll probably read it. So, yes, go to our Instagram at Savor the Story Pod and our website, savorthestorypod.com, and go to the contact form. Send us all the things. Send us all the books that you would want to read for the first time. Send us all your snack recommendations. Send us all your Twilight discussions. Send us everything. Tell me everything.
Yes. All the things.
Yes. And then while you're doing it, tell all your friends to listen to us.
Yes.
Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your cat. You know, who knows?
Your cat.
Maybe they want to listen. So yes, go give us 5 stars, go comment on the episodes, go share them with your friends. We really, really, really appreciate it if you do all of those things for us. We might love you forever. And
totally.
That's it. The end.
The end.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Get out of here. Come on.
At one point, she's like about to get murdered. She's like about to get gosh, words are gone for me.
They are about to end her.
Yeah, but like death row. Like she's about to
be like
See? The word is gone. Put to death? I don't know.
Yeah, there is a word, or is a word for that. Executed?
Yes. Okay.